Fearless and truthful.
Provocative and controversial.
We say it like it really is.
With dignity and respect.
Committed to free speech and common sense.
Upbeat and entertaining.
Straight talking and direct.
We may agitate each other and you.
Thought-provoking, provocative and controversial.
Hello and welcome to The Pledge. As I know, it can be hard to get your voice heard when talking about Brexit nowadays. It feels like we've hit saturation point. Enter pro-EU campaigner Victoria Bateman, who's come up with a striking way this week to get herself noticed, appearing across the media completely starkers to make various points about Brexit, leaving Britain naked. So, in tribute to Dr. Bateman, I've decided to follow suit. Every time we talk about Brexit,
Mr. Ferrari.
just to make sure I get noticed around this table.
Go, Rachel!
Ferrari's speechless. Got white teeth.
You look good.
Right, then. I'll get dressed, I'll put them away. Someone else can tell us what's coming up on the programme.
All right, OK. While Rachel makes herself decent on the programme today, Carol says Meghan is no Diana. June argues we should all go with the flow when talking about periods. Nick thinks the Defence Secretary is in the realms of fantasy, and I'm going back to basics. But first, back to Rachel.
Thank you, everybody. I carry no brief for Topshop billionaire Sir Philip Green, and I speak as someone who's met the man. And I'm not defending him from allegation that he has racially abused or harassed his staff either. The alleged incidents include unwanted contact of a sexual nature, general sexual harassment, racist language, intimidation and bullying. But we now know several former employees have been paid off after signing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, to keep stum about their alleged treatment. If you want to bring a bully to account, you don't take the massive payoff and sign the NDA, so you can never talk about it again. We don't know who the Telegraph's sources are, or if any of those who signed NDAs broke them by speaking to the press. But if Sir Philip Green had forked out £1 million for calling me a faintly sexual term, I'd be laughing all the way to the bank. He may be a foul-mouthed bully who's on the wrong side of the Me Too movement, but he's paid through the nose and he's on the right side of the law to sort out his HR problems. Also, he thought, calls to strip him of his knighthood and even face criminal charges are both vindictive and wrong.
Well, Rachel, what an exciting precedent you said for those of us who have to do the introduction to the show. God knows what we're going to do with Uncle Phil Campion. Right, let's come to, I think, the most... Well, there's many things that are interesting here. Let's talk a little bit about these NDAs, because I think you might have some legal training, and there's a very interesting aspect of NDAs, because for the purpose of debate, let's say there's a very... Now, NDAs disclose not just personal matters, but also professional matters as well. So you have, say, a very, very senior executive of Sky News, who's got all the battle plans for Brexit, the general election, whatever else it might be. Yeah. He, she is then lured to go and work for the BBC or ITN. You want to protect the privacy. So that's where I see the value of an NDA. The whole issue of NDA... And,
I'm not attacking NDAs,
no, but that's what I think is an interesting point.
Yes,
because,
OK.
well, because they can be used for that area, and they can be used potentially, we don't know, potentially by Sir Philip Green for other men. So how do we do, and I would have thought most of us, because we've all worked in different parts of the media, and we've probably all been in parts charged with various plans, and we've known about office, you know, secrets or whatever. How do we keep the legality of an NDA for a business that wants to keep a new product, a new type of razor blade, a new type of car, a new breakfast cereal, that they don't want to lose to the opposition? And I think we'd all agree with that, and I totally share your concerns that potentially serious matters of a sexual nature or others are somehow being good. That's what I think we have to try and wrestle with.
So is your point, how do we know what was in the NDA? Was it just the sort of the allegations and then other stuff related to the business?
Because I see the value of NDA for professional, for business, for commercial interests.
But if an NDA is only about allegations, and then that doesn't have anything to do with your point.
Right,
then, is
right.
it?
But the whole question of NDAs, I sense, will have some kind of legal...
I think it will come up, because I
Right.
think that with the Me Too movement, and lots of people have signed NDAs, question mark has been raised over whether NDAs are ethical, and should you force an
Yes.
employee to sign them.
Yes.
Now, I agree, when it's, you know, commercial sensitivity, and when someone's leaving a company, I think they have to sign them.
Yeah.
But I don't think employees should be forced to sign them. But once they have signed them, I think that...
And been paid for signing them.
You can't have your cake
I'm
and eat
really
it, to coin a phrase. Yeah,
discrimination.
Carol.
I'm really
Carol.
surprised at your stance on this, because I think you're on the side of the Me Too movement, or you're not. And I think it's...
Oh, no.
but
I don't think it's black and white, but carry on.
But I think it is black and white. I mean, and I really thought it would be for you, but I don't think it's okay for rich men to use the law to protect themselves from allegations of abuse. And I think this
Well, he hasn't, has he? That's my point.
Well,
He's been open to allegations of abuse.
He's paid, that we've heard, he's paid people large sums of money to keep quiet. Now, you know, yes, there's something about the girls. Yes, OK, they shouldn't have taken the money. They should have taken us down. But actually, the thing is, £1 million is a lot of money. However, I'm very uncomfortable about this. You know, I'm probably, unlike a lot of women, in that I'm very tolerant of what a lot of people call banter with men. I mean, you know, because I think there's a ludicrous overreaction to some of it. However, what has been alleged here makes me feel very uncomfortable in this case, because it's not just about abuse, it's about fear. It's about, the allegations are about fear and about bullying and about people being asked to dress in a certain...
Racial abuse.
And that, to me, means he should not be protected by the law in any way, shape or form.
I think it's very
Let's get
simple.
Maggie in after I read this. Let's just get this in.
Sure.
Sir Philip has, Maggie, straight to you after. Sir Philip has, quotes, categorically denied any unlawful racist or sexual behaviour. His lawyers say, and I quote again, it is further denied that any of Sir Philip's conduct towards employees amounted to any type of crime or anything that would amount to gross misconduct or a serious risk to health and safety. In a statement issued after the ruling, Sir Philip and the board of the Arcadia Group said the signatories to the non-disclosure agreements were under, quotes, ongoing obligations, close quotes, to honour the agreements. The statement continued. The Telegraph has pursued a vendetta against Sir Philip Green and the employees and management of Arcadia Group for the past 9 months, harassing many of its staff and their families in their homes, often at night and on weekends. The Telegraph and its owners must now decide whether to do the decent thing and respect the NDAs. Magic.
Right, so before I comment from my perspective, let's have a listen to somebody who has made allegations, and Orna Irvin, who worked for Topshop in LA.
If we're setting an example and suggesting that this type of behavior is okay, we'll times that by, you know, Sir Philip's not the only wealthy individual in the world. There's a lot of men out there, and I'd hope that we're not utilizing this individual as an example of how men with money should act and more or less hide behind a piece of paper.
So that, of course, Sir Philip's defence team have described her as an unreliable witness, and that, you know, the jury's out on that. But I would like to say, I think actually clearly there is a place for NDAs in terms of, you know, confidentiality at work, and that's really important. When criminal allegations are involved, normally even where NDAs aren't involved, there is often a civil settlement and a criminal case to be made, and they are often separated. And so I do wonder why, even in the case of NDAs when money has been made, to take Carol's point, why we can't separate the two there as well. So even if you've paid £1 million to somebody, that's for the civil compensation, which often accompanies many criminal cases.
Okay.
But why should they get let off scot-free for any alleged and potential
And there
criminal
are lawyers
conduct?
lining up to say criminal offences have been committed, and they've actually named what those offences could be. But do you not think what I find really disappointing in all of this is the big swathe of celebrity women who Philip Green has been involved with over the years? They've all kept incredibly quiet about this, and I find this really disappointing. And they're all women. If you look at, I'm not going to name them because I'm not allowed to, but if you look at all of these women, they've all been at some point...
We've all seen the pictures of them.
Okay, so you know,
hanging around his neck.
We know that all of these women have in the past been paid large sums of money by Philip Green, or still being paid, or have taken his hospitality.
I can name one.
And they haven't spoken out, but they have spoken.
June is in the book.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
I've known Philip and his wife for many years, and have done lots of work for Topshop over the years.
You were in New York, didn't you?
Yeah, I opened the New York store, I did the LA launch, I did all of that. And what I would
Do you know the
say-
lady that we just heard from?
I don't know her, no, but I know a lot of the women that are...
Can I ask you, June, can we crystallise here?
Yeah.
I mean, there's two questions have been brought up over all these allegations. The Telegraph And we should actually acknowledge that the Telegraph's owners, the Barclay brothers, have been in dispute over a deal they did with Sir Philip Green over the sale of Sears, and Sir Philip Green called them old codgers and boasted that he had got a better end of the deal. The question to me is very simple. You know, if he's guilty of crime, then I think he has to face charges. Of course. But people have to bring those charges in plain sight, which may mean breaking their NDAs. They have to deal with that separately. The second issue, which arose in the Commons yesterday, is whether he should be stripped of his knighthood. Now, this is quite preemptive because of the forfeiture committee, but let's hear what the Prime Minister has to say, and then I want to hear what you have to say.
It's important that if the recipient of an honour brings that honour into disrepute, steps should be taken to review that honour. Now, that, of course, there is a forfeiture process for that purpose. That does include an independent forfeiture committee, which gives recommendations to me for Her Majesty's approval. That is the process, but it's important, I believe, that we have that, so that anybody who has been in receipt of an honour that brings honour into disrepute, that steps can be taken to review that.
Is he guilty of trial by media? I mean, is he a victim of trial by media,
And
June?
this is where I agree with you. I think when it comes to allegations, if we are not able to prove that the allegations are actually true, then he shouldn't be stripped of his honour. But if a criminal case were to arise and he was convicted, then of course he should be stripped of his honour. And like I said, I've known Philip for a very long time. Now, I've never seen racial abuse and I've never seen sexual harassment. What I have seen is aggressive behaviour. He is a
like
very...
a lot of businessmen.
Like a lot of businessmen. He's a very aggressive man. He shouts a lot.
But
and
being a
his stuff-
boisterous bully is not against the law.
Exactly.
Being a boisterous bully is not against the law.
Boisterous, please.
Pointing at
Put your shirt on.
Yes.
Or don't.
He's still not over it.